I'm DeLisa Seals. And I was sticking to the theme because I see that it was discovery. So I'm the oldest of four. And my sister and I, when we were younger, I was like 10 or 11 years old, we used to play church. I was the preacher, she was our praise and worship. And we used to go and make a makeshift pulpit. And I would stand behind the pulpit and say my best Three Little Bears or Goldilocks sermon. And then I would come from around the pulpit and I would lay hands on my next door neighbors. There were three sisters who would come to church. And they would fall out on the ground and we would go get pillowcases off my grandmother's line that she just washed. And we would lay them on them. And then after church, we would go next door and we would have communion, which consisted of saltine crackers and Welch's grape juice. But fast forward, more than 30 years later, April 11th, 2022, when my uncle, James Otis Seals, passed away. He was my father figure, a man who helped rear me. He was a man of integrity, a man who never met a stranger. He taught me how to cherish my family, and he also told me the secret to life is to always find the people with the power. My cousin, who was his only child, decided that since I was the first niece, the first and oldest granddaughter, that I should eulogize his funeral. I happily accepted. I was honored to do it until a week later, at the day of the funeral, I regretted it. I was almost having a panic attack and I didn't know what to do. I said, I have to stand in front of these people and eulogize him. I stood in the hallway, consoling people. I was greeting people I hadn't seen in years. I was doing anything and everything to stay away from going into that parlor and standing in front of that casket. As the time drew close, I walked down the aisle. I stood behind that podium, and with all the confidence I could muster, I read scriptures, and then I introduced people who wanted to come up and say their last words. I stood there, and at that moment, I tried not to look to my left at the open casket, but immediately the memories of me being 10 or 11 years old, standing behind a makeshift pulpit, came flooding back to my mind. And at that moment, I was not standing there saying my most powerful Three Little Bears sermon, but I was actually eulogizing a father figure, an uncle, a friend, a brother. And I was not laying hands on my next door neighbors, but I was actually laying to rest a man who helped raise me, but did not remember me because of Alzheimer's. And it was in that moment that I rediscovered what my purpose is. And maybe, just maybe, I was called for such a time as this. Thank you.